What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Daniel here. This is a different style of video, and I just wanted to make this because after being in Tirana, Albania for about a month, I just wanted to do a quick recap of my time there and talk about some of the things that you might want to consider if you want to come here. So I will be talking about the main things such as the cost of living, infrastructure, social life, the weather, overall standard of living, and I will be finally answering the question, should you come here if you're a digital nomad and you're looking for places that you want to go to? Hi, I'm Daniel, and I like to think of myself as a digital nomad, however cliche that may sound. I've been in Tirana, Albania for the last 1 month, and in this video I want to help you answer some key questions in making a decision on whether or not you want to come here. I'll be answering questions around food, transportation, safety, internet, pretty much every question that you may have in your mind right now. I hope this video helps you, and if it does, please let me know in the comments, and I hope sometime we will see each other on the other side of the world. In the meantime, enjoy. I feel like I am in the best position to talk about this now because I've been here for well over a month, and I've had time to experience some of the things that you may want to experience if you are coming here to Albania. I've actually gotten questions on my YouTube channel, and from friends and family who just want to know, have a general idea of what life is like here in Tirana, Albania. Of course, right now I'm in Vlora, Albania. It's just about 2.5 hours southwest of Tirana, and it's pretty much chilly here, and it's been pouring rain over the last couple of days, so I've not been able to get out to film a lot of videos, but I just wanted to do this sit down video and just talk about my time in Tirana, Albania. So for the first question, which is cost of living, let's talk about that. So it depends on how you want to look at it. A lot of people would tell you that if you're a local, or maybe you find a local, you might be able to rent an apartment, especially if you're doing a long-term lease, for anywhere between $200 to $300, or maybe $400 in some cases, but it usually is on the lower end of $300. And for me, I didn't plan to be here for a long time, or I don't plan to be here for a long time, and Airbnb just seemed like the best option to get accommodation. And of course, when you go through Airbnb, there's a lot of things you have to consider, which is sometimes the service fees, the taxes, the cleaning fees, and that might be eating into your core budget. So I mean, for me, the first apartment that I lived in here in Tirana, this is my third Airbnb in Albania. The first apartment I lived in, I paid around $35 a night because I just wanted to have a better living experience in my first few weeks here, because I will be there I ended up being there for about 2 weeks, so it was very important for me to be able to settle in and to see if I really like being here, because some things you read online may not necessarily be true. So I just wanted to make sure that I have a good living space when I got here to Albania. So my Airbnb cost me $35 a night, and I was there for about 2 weeks, and I actually made a video, like an apartment tour of this apartment here in the cards if you want to check it out. And so your cost of living will cost you anywhere from $15 a night to anywhere from $35 to $40 or even more, especially if you are in Tirana, Albania. So keep that in mind. But if you're looking for a long-term lease, you might actually want to speak to a realtor. There's a lot of realtors around the city. There's Remax. There's a bunch of real estate companies that can help you do that, or just simply speak to a local if you have access to one. So I think that would be my thoughts about real estate here, the cost of living. Now let's talk about food. I think food here in Tirana I have found to be generally inexpensive, only if you want to go to the fancy restaurants, which it doesn't feel like I'm spending that much of the money, but I still believe that food in Albania generally isn't expensive. If you want to find variety, you may want to just look up and Google some of the places that you may want to go to, but I don't find that there's a lot of variety with the food here in Albania, maybe in Tirana, but that's just only my opinion. That's only my opinion. I find that people find different tastes appealing than others. For me, I love spicy food, but there's no spicy food. There's no such thing as spicy in Albania. It's either salty or it's sour. So that's something that I didn't really like, but then again, that's only my personal opinion. So if you love spicy food, keep that in mind. You will not find anything spicy here in Albania, but if you love sour and if you just love someone who likes a lot of meat, you will be finding a lot of meat in Albania. That's something I love so much. I'm a meat lover. I cannot do without meat. So that's something that I found to be, to be appealing about Albania, because the meat culture here is just so huge, and I love meat so much. So the cost of food here in Albania will cost you anywhere from from $1.50 to to $4 or $5, even $7 in some cases per meal. But it depends on what type of meal you're going for. If you're going for something fancier, of course you'll be spending more. But generally for me, I found that I've spent anywhere from $3 to $5 per meal here in Albania, and that's even in the capital city. So I find that that's not very expensive at all. So if you are coming to Albania, keep that in mind, especially in Tirana, you'll be spending more. But I found that Vlora is something I will talk about in a different video, but food here in Vlora is just expensive than in Albania, so keep that in mind. So another thing I want to talk about in this video is infrastructure. Now in this category, I'll be talking about transportation, telephone, internet, what you pay for that, and what you get for what you pay. So with regards to transportation, getting around in Tirana, Albania, there's no ride sharing services like Uber or Lyft or any local one for that matter. Of course, someone told me that there's a local ride sharing service, but I haven't seen it yet. But what you will find mostly are local taxis and buses. And if you want to take a taxi, they use a meter, so you will be paying anywhere from 300 lek to 1500 lek, depending on where you're going in the city. But the most I've spent on taxi, I believe, was about $12, which is equivalent to about 1,200 lek. The buses, however, they cost anywhere from 30 cents to 40 cents, which is 30 lek to 40 lek. So within the city of Tirana, I haven't spent more than 40 lek on a bus, so that would be about 40 cents. So it's pretty affordable if you want to get around in Tirana. But being a place that is very walkable, you wouldn't need to to take a lot of buses. Maybe you want to go outside of the city, that's the only time you will need a taxi, really. I think Tirana is a place that is very walkable. You will find people walking everywhere. So if you're coming to Tirana, you will be doing a lot of walking. I've done so much walk here in Tirana than I have in the last months this year combined. So transportation, you'll be spending anywhere from 30 to 40 lek on buses, and anywhere from 300 to 1,200, which is equivalent to $3 to $12 if you're taking a taxi. And with regards to telephone, so my first day here in Tirana, I got a phone plan at the airport, and that cost me, I believe, $25 for I think 20 gigabytes of telephone, and unlimited call and unlimited text, and of course you get 10 minutes international call. I don't think that's a lot, because I exhausted it in about 2 weeks, but that's just how I use my internet. I'm always on my phone, I'm always doing stuff. But my apartment had Wi-Fi, but anytime I want to go out, of course I still want to watch my YouTube videos and do some other things, so I exhausted that. So you will be probably refilling your line like twice a month. So if you are someone who uses a lot of internet, say you'll be spending anywhere from $25 to $30 every month on the internet. And with telephone, of course, that is included in that cost as well. So you get unlimited text and calls and 10 minutes of international call time, with about $25. And the speed of internet here, and the internet speed here, it's off the charts. I'm getting anywhere from 100 megabytes per second upload and about 50 to 60 download. So that is really awesome. So if you're coming to Albania, you don't have to worry about it. There's 4G LTE everywhere you go, so you can be rest assured that your internet will stay top notch. So, but in Vlora though, where I am right now, it's not as fast as in Albania, but generally in Albania, it's usually very good. Let's talk about social life. Social life, I mean, if you want to go out, want to drink a beer, what does it cost and what does it look like? So beer in Albania or in Tirana is very inexpensive. I was out with some other friends the other night, and we drank a lot of beer. We paid anywhere from $1 to $2 for the beer, which are really good beer, like local Albanian beer. And sometimes the imported beer, from Germany, from Italy, they can be expensive. And when I say expensive, maybe anywhere from $3 to $5. But the beer that you find here in the bars in Albania, they're usually very good beers, and you're paying anywhere from $1 to $2 for those beers. So if you're just like me, you don't care where the beer is from, as long as it's good, you will not be spending a lot of money on beer. And some question that I got, in my comments, I believe yesterday, was what is dating like here? Of course, that we can categorize as social life. Well, dating here can be very tricky, especially someone who, from what I know, Albanians are very reserved. They wouldn't be the first to come talk to you or, make approaches at you. But if you talk to them, if you become friends with them, they generally open up, and they are, generally very kind. I wouldn't say nice, but they're generally very kind. When it comes to dating, of course, as a black person here, I've had a local tell me that Albanians, the girls here, they are kind of drawn to dark-skinned men. I don't know how true that is, but I find that when I'm walking on the street, in fact, I don't know what that means. They look at you a lot. They stare at you, and they may, smile at you, some of them. But what I just find is that they're generally very nice. They will smile at you. They will, talk nicely to you if you talk to them, but they will not necessarily be the first person to make passes at you or make approaches or anything like that. So you need to keep that in mind if you're coming here to do something like that. So that would be my thoughts on that. And now let's talk about weather, because that is a very big consideration, especially if you're coming here as a digital nomad. You want to know what is the best time of the year to come. Now, I would say that I am here right now. It's the winter season here. I would say this is not the best time to come to Albania or to come to Tirana, anywhere in Albania for that matter, because it is cold and it is raining. In fact, for the last 1 month, it's been pouring rain every day. So by tomorrow, the weather should clear up a little bit. It should be nicer, but it's not very nice at this time of the year, especially if you want to visit the southern parts, where the beaches are, the ocean areas and things of that nature. So you want to make sure you time your coming here to between, I believe, February and August to September. That is generally the best time to come to Albania, but you don't want to come here at this time of the year. Now let's talk about the overall standard of living here in Albania. Overall standard of living, I would say it's pretty decent. Of course, being a communist country, you can still tell that the standard of living, the architecture, a lot of things here is still reeling from those effects of communism, and things are still growing here. The economy is not all that robust. I mean, people don't make a lot of money here, and you need to keep that in mind when you come here. So it's not going to be what you're used to. Say you're from the US or Canada or anywhere in the developed country. So if you're coming here, always keep that in mind. But it's not to take away from the fact that it's a nice place to be in. I mean, the people are kind. I mean, the food is good. The environment is mostly clean, but they do have a trash problem in Tirana. Everywhere you go, there's trash everywhere, but I'm not really concerned about that, because personally I can very much relate to that, because I'm from Nigeria. So I mean, what do you expect? But overall standard of living, I would say basic amenities like electricity, running water, hot water, like all of those things, you will find them here. Fast internet, you will find here, but you cannot expect anything over the top. You have to realize that, people here, they struggle just like anywhere else in the world. And, some of the privileges that you're used to wherever you're coming from may not be here necessarily. So you have to keep that in mind. But overall, I would say the standard of living is pretty decent, especially for someone who's coming from a country like the United States. Things are not perfect anywhere, but you have to keep that in mind, that, whatever you do here, always keep in mind that the locals here, they struggle just like everyone. They don't make a lot of money. So that's what I would say about overall standard of living. It's pretty decent. It's not over the top, but if you're coming here, of course, you have to respect, the local people and the local way of life. To answer the final question, should you come here? Should you come to Albania? Should you come to Tirana? I think that's a question that I would leave you to answer yourself. But if you ask me, what would my recommendation be? If if you wanted to come here, I would say 100%. I mean, the whole premise of travel is to discover places, to meet people, and to see what's out in the world. What would the point be if you wanted to ignore some parts of the world and you just want to visit some, other parts of the world? So if you ask me if you should come here, I would say 100%. But of course, you do have to keep in mind, like I said, some of the things that you get here may not be up to the standard that you were expecting, especially in, things like, the level of service that you receive, in places, and just about how people relate to you. So the food, the infrastructure, the weather, it's mostly perfect, but it's not 100%, just like anywhere in the world. But as a digital nomad, if you ask me if you should come to Tirana, Albania, I would say 100% come here. There's a lot of things to see. There's a lot of places to go to. It's so diverse in its nature, in the people, in pretty much everything that you will find here. So I hope this video has been helpful. This has been my experience of Albania, especially Tirana, in the last 1 month that I've been here. And if you find it helpful, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, and leave a comments. Let me know what questions you have regarding, digital nomad life, and if you should come to Tirana, Albania, and pretty much whatever it is you're up to. Anyways, my name is Daniel, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.